What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Bennett and Mike Baker coming at you with another episode of the Google News Update. Uh, Today, we're gonna have some three hot topics that we're gonna be talking about. Good to have over here.
That's
But
how I get. That's how I get.
yeah, man, that's how it is. I don't know why I was
It
probably
just
looking
be
stuff
like
up.
that
Whatever.
sometimes.
But um, but yeah, so the topics we're gonna be talking to you all about, and I like one of them in particular definitely resonates with me a lot. This first one is the YouTube needs to chill with this annoying premium span. uh, the second one we're gonna be covering is Google searches for Bitcoin spike after BTC prices hits a 6 month low. Woo. And the
Mm.
last one is it's actually pull up, this is a long title. So it's from the Business Insider. As Google's parent company Alphabet is getting back into robots, but this time it's using AI to create robots that can land on their own. We already had several conversations about how I feel about that, but we'll get into that later, man. But this first article, um, YouTube needing to get some chill on this premium span. I think this is it's kind of self-explanatory, man. If you don't have YouTube, I don't even know what it's called because I skip it so much. Like since I think it was one time it's called YouTube Red, and I know you have like the Google Music and it's YouTube something else. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
That you all are, and it's advertising. At the end of the day, they have the platform, they own it. They get to do whatever they want. But after a while, it's like I feel like this is slightly abusive because they know that people primarily go to YouTube, what I mean, for their video indulgences. You know what I mean? It's the second biggest search engine, I think, other outside of just Google itself.
yeah,
Although Google owns, this is Google all over the place, right? But then you know it's like, come on, man. People don't really. If it was something that they just need to find another angle. You know what I mean? Maybe if they package it in something that they got coming out, I think that would benefit. But having it where it's all, now they've moved into they kind of slipped it under our noses. People didn't catch it, but it used to only be one ad that would play, but now they got two, man. So you got like a 5 second one, then it's like 5 second one that can't be skipped, and then there's like another one that sometimes can be skipped, or whatever the case is, these end streams. But
yeah,
then it's like you have that, and it's like what's stacked on top of that is this daily push for like the YouTube premium services. When they try to dupe you into taking a survey for it, they have like 5 questions or something like that. It's like, bro, I get it, but you know, people, do you have a lot of seasoned people that is on YouTube? People who indulge in content, people who create content, right? And the people I come from I come from the part of YouTube where it wasn't any advertising. It was just people. It was in their humble beginnings. So now we in this
hmm
advertising phase, and of course, commerce has to always, it drives everything. But I'm like, bro, like, what's the point? I mean, what are we really trying to get to with this? Because you're already rich enough. You're gonna find more ways to make more revenue, and yeah, it's good, but the return on the investment, I don't know. I don't really think it's as big as they probably promote it to be. I think it's like you don't have any ads and you can play music when you close it or something, but bro, like
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
really.
I got it. I have the premium. I got the YouTube premium. I had it about like maybe actually like maybe about 5 6 years now for real for real.
Oh wow.
Um, back when it was YouTube Red, like yeah. So like YouTube did they were non ads for a while and roughly around like the what they used to call the recession or like 2008 2009 that's around the time that they started making advertisements like mandatory thing. It was because it was a major hit for everybody, so like all the businesses in all the areas started finding ways that they can monetize. And when it came to like the Silicon Valley people, the web services people, it was advertisements. So you started seeing ads coming up everywhere possible. Facebook started pushing ads on everything. YouTube definitely started pushing ads on all their videos. Um, with this, they're talking about the YouTube Premium. It's yeah, like like you were saying, it's there's an issue with the marketing and like the message that they're trying to put out there because it's like multiple people are talking and multiple people are having different messages. Like they have Google Music and then they have YouTube Music. Google Music is basically and YouTube Music are two different apps that basically are for the same purpose. Like it doesn't make sense that they even have them in existence, except that they're under two different brands and under two different companies, essentially. Because YouTube is its own company, it just happens to be owned by Google, and Google is its own company, and the apps themselves they work completely different. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. Like the apps work completely different. When I first got YouTube Music, the reason I even got it was because YouTube Music was like it was cheap. It was like 9.99 at the time. And the main thing that they were pitching about that was that you could upload like 50,000 songs that you owned up into their cloud. And I basically had a whole like
Yeah.
catalog of music that I was able to just put up in their cloud, and that was through Google Music. And you that was that. Like I said, that was like 2009, 2010. It was a while ago. But like it wasn't until like maybe 2016, 2017 that they started actually promoting YouTube Music. And the idea was to actually ultimately, like they still have both apps, but ultimately what their plan is supposed to be is that they're going to push all this stuff from Google Music
Google
into YouTube
to
Music.
YouTube.
So what I'm hoping is that my collection of some 50,000 songs is still going to be transported over as well. Or else that's when I'll have a complaint because
Mm.
my whole purpose was that you allow me to have my catalog of music along with the 30 million that you're going to offer me with the subscription, the music that I downloaded from the sources that I had, because I had like mixtapes and stuff that you can't find
Right.
in
There
their
you
streaming
go.
services.
That's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
that's the
like,
key. Yeah.
and I was able to upload that stuff to the cloud. I was able to upload it there so that I could have it everywhere. Like this was like back with 3GS. I remember doing that stuff. I mean, like I could put it all up there and have it up there, and it was a good place to have it. And
And you
because I
can't
could,
do wait, like you can't do that no more because I think I caught the wave late because I was thinking about that. I have a bunch of like Lupe Fiasco mixtapes I want to hold on
yeah,
to. I got to
yeah,
trust the
they
CD.
they have an external app that you install on your computer on your Windows machine. It's like Google Music Manager, and what that does is it take all the files that you have on your computer and it sends it up to your account so that you can listen to it on any of your devices anywhere you go. And like I'm sure that system is still available because Google Music is still available, but
Yeah.
they have not shown that they're integrating that into YouTube Music at all. And that's the part that everybody is sort of waiting for because for like a year now they've been talking about, yeah, we're gonna try to do one-to-one feature compatibility, meaning that we're gonna try to make all the features that are in Google Music work in YouTube Music. And that hasn't happened yet. I mean, I still go back to Google Music because not just for my old categories, but I feel like Google Music has better playlists and randomization playlists and stuff that they have.
Mhm.
Google Music has a better one than YouTube Music. YouTube Music keeps giving me the same 10, 15 songs that I don't even care about no more. And like I'll end up going back to Google Music because it has better algorithms. It just seems like a better system. It works more intuitive with what I like. Like YouTube Music looks pretty because it looks like Spotify, but it doesn't work like Spotify, and it's not as
Yeah,
slick
it's
as
not.
Spotify.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a spot. It's not just some streaming service. It's Titan of a stream service. It's not that. At least not yet. And then of course it's not as seasoned as Google Music.
Yeah,
So
and I
it's
mean, I
like
I I figure they're trying to do it for branding purposes because YouTube is an entertainment company. Ultimately, they try
makes
to
sense.
like they're a technology company, but they're trying to be in technology for entertainment purposes. So it makes sense to get the music business out of Google.
It should just come
And
out with a musical. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, you come out with a musical talk about how great they are. Everybody hop on it for real. But like that's what they're trying to do is essentially move the branding over there with it, but they got to move the actual functionality, the thing that we all paid for to come along with it. YouTube Premium that part of it was just like a gimme that came along with it a while ago. Like when it first came out, like when Google Music came out, there was no addition of YouTube Premium. But like within a year or two later, they were like, all right, well, YouTube, you also get ad free YouTube. So you don't see any advertisements that go through. Whenever you want to play something, it just plays. You don't
There
have to
you
sit
go.
through that 5 second cut. You don't have to sit through that 15, 30 second cut. You just
Or
play it.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, or longer from what I've yeah, I see it. I see it when I'm at work when I'm not logged into my personal account. I mean, I see how that happens to people, and even based on this advertisement, like I mean, on this article, he got screenshots of all these different moments when ads keep popping up on him, and it's like it does get annoying after a minute, and that's just on the app that he's showing it. That happens too on your desktop. If you go
On
to
the desktop.
YouTube, there's big advertisements everywhere talking about sign up for premium. And I figured, I mean, they're trying to do this whole family plan thing. They're trying to like, Apple, what was it? Apple has their family plan with iCloud, and they just dropped this whole
Mm.
they have the Apple Music streaming where you can do like a family plan for Apple Music streaming. They have a family plan for Apple Arcade now. Um, with my YouTube plan, my Google Music plan, my premium plan, essentially, I always had the ability to add up to 6 people on the plan, but like they want to make like these whole like home services plan, like get all these things and just pay one subscription fee.
That's
And
the
I
new thing for companies, man. I think that Comcast kind of set the precedence for that, though.
yeah,
I think the
yeah,
whole family plan business.
yeah. I mean, yeah, all mobile plans, all of that stuff, they all try to do these like group shared plans, like the whole family's going to be in on it anyway, so let's do it because that's technically the old model. Yeah, I mean, like if you got TV in your house for cable, you can get one for every room for every TV essentially, and then the whole family benefits. But when it comes to this new digital era, everybody has to sort of have an account. And it's like
Mm.
with an account, you can't keep sharing the same account. If you're trying to like they try to make money off of personalization. So you personalize the advertisement to who the person is. And if you
Right.
got random people signing into the same account, you can't really
Can't
organize the
personalize
ad.
the attack.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they hope that you give your kid a Google account, you give your parent your whoever your significant other a Google account, and
Your
then everybody,
grandparents and yeah.
yeah, I mean, and then they all feed into this family plan, and you can individualize advertisements that way. But at the same time, you get these benefits of these services, but for the people that aren't trying to pay into those services, it is starting to eat at their lunch and well, eat at their ability to get information. Like one of the biggest benefits of YouTube was the fact that it was a open, free way to get
Yeah.
information. And now they're locking it down to be it's a pay to play system. Like the advertisements are annoying, but at the same time, they do want to make money. But like, how much money is enough money?
Yeah,
And
that's what
like,
I was saying. Like, how much is it, bro? They already bringing in revenue. The fact, like, so if Google bought YouTube, of course, we already know that the history of YouTube of Google. We talked about that how they have already developed this extravagant, you know, revenue. They generated that from their advertising. It's like,
yeah.
what are we really aiming for here with the YouTube Premium? Because I can see if there's money to be made, but I feel like they push this thing as if they need it.
I think they do though. Part of it. I just thought about it. Part of it is the fact that they make 85% of their business off of advertisements, and
Ah,
the business of advertisement is what's going to get them caught up in legal situations with the government. Because they don't have any other major revenue sources besides just ads. Now they're attempting to try to get people to be paid subscribers to things.
that
Yeah, I
makes
mean,
perfect sense.
because if they're paid subscribers, then they don't have to be part of the ad system. In that way, then they can because once you become a paid customer, technically, based on unwritten rules, they're not tracking your data anymore because you're a paying customer, so they don't need to track your data in the same way anymore.
They're not sending you ads. So.
Yeah, because they're not sending you ads, so they don't need to know that information about you. There's other things that they're tracking you on. You still got you got Google Maps and stuff like that. They still tracking where your location is, but they don't need to feed an ad to you anymore because you're paying to not have ads pushed to you anymore. And essentially, they're trying to get out of that ad business because that's a business that's going to hurt them in the long run if that's the majority of their business. Particularly with like Facebook having their ad business running, Amazon has a major ad business because they sell nothing but retail, so they got all the
Right.
products. I mean, they got all the products that need advertisement placement.
They sold
So
products before they advertised.
yeah, yeah. So like Google has to try to pull themselves out of being predominantly an ad company because they have so many other pieces of software that they offer that are currently free because of the fact that they make money off of ads.
Had so much. I mean,
And
they
it's
could
like,
probably sell. They sell merch, you know.
yeah, ain't nobody buying that merch, man. I got like two shirts and like two keychains. All that stuff was just given to me for a free conference.
Ain't got none
I
of
mean,
that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not about to go buy anything. Google, they got my money already. You know what I'm talking about? They already got my money. So like, I mean, I have a lot of stuff invested with Google. Not necessarily like I got any funds, like any what like stock or anything, but like I do a lot of work with Google platform stuff, and um, I definitely am a paying customer of Google's for YouTube, YouTube Music, YouTube TV. Because only way I don't pay my Comcast for television. I go to YouTube TV because of the same reason. I get to watch YouTube anywhere, and I get to add 6 people to my subscription. I mean, so it allows for all of us to have television and make it so my parents' bill is cheaper. I pay for the bill, helps everybody ultimately in the long run. But
Baba.
like they
Mm.
don't they Google's always been bad at messaging, and YouTube is pretty bad at messaging for a company that spits out videos left and right. They're
Right.
horrible at getting that message out.
They should probably just have an advertisement talking about. I have yet to see a video ad about YouTube Premium.
You know what
I
they
don't.
need, right?
What they
They need a musical.
need.
That's what they need. They need a musical.
Oh man, bro, I lose all respect for YouTube. Then I mean, I don't know, man. It's just that's just they're in the lane of content creators. So, I get it. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
nothing would
you
change on them though. I swear.
YouTube in itself, I'm trying to figure out what their ultimate goal is because they started off just being the community of video uploaders, and I mean now they basically are dominating television. So it's like, what is their real plan to do? Are they just trying to become the new television platform? Or are they trying to create a new means for like viewership or whatever? Like, is it just a whole new thing, or are they just trying to be the dominators of the old thing?
Hmm, it's a question, man. It's a question. But yeah, man. Maybe kind of hit that pretty hard, man. Let's go to the next topic, man. It says Google
Bitcoin.
searches for Bitcoin spike after BTC price hit 6 month lows. I think this is, and it's funny that they would, this concerning Google. So Google is actually, I think, didn't we say we read the article? I think either in 20 or 2021, they they're giving checking accounts out, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
they're
to
starting a bank.
Bitcoin. So it's like I think this kind of runs hand in hand, man. I think there's nothing ironic about Google being at the forefront of searches when it comes to Bitcoin, everything around cryptocurrency. They're gonna, from my humble but honest opinion, they're gonna be heavily involved in cryptocurrency when they jump into the banking sector full on, right?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely definitely that.
But
Um,
yeah, I mean, just talk about it. I mean, as far as Bitcoin goes, man, we knew that coming into this thing, we came from that time where everyone kind of had an opportunity to invest in Bitcoin when it was only like 50 cent or like 40 cent or something like that, and then went through that fluctuation stage when stuff was up like almost
twenty
$20,000
thousand
Bitcoin,
dollars.
some of that. But now it's down at its lowest it's been within the past 6 months, man. What do you think what do you think that's a signal of, Mike?
I mean, I feel like it's a signal of people actually learning more about what Bitcoin is versus the idea, what cryptocurrency, what Bitcoin is as a company or as an entity or as a thing versus what cryptocurrency is in general versus the larger thing that they always talk about, which is blockchain.
Mm,
Um, and how they all individually play out. And I feel like this is people actually learning now and making decisions on it because for a while people didn't know what Bitcoin was. They just knew people were putting money in it and
right.
people were getting money out and they were getting way more money out than they were putting in.
Flipping it, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the big thing that sort of made it have its bubble in the first place was like I put in $1 and I made $50, and a lot of people that had a lot of dollars was like, yeah, I'm gonna put my dollars into it, and I made myself a couple exponentially $50 more. And then what happened was at that time was like all they really wanted to do was put their money in the system so that they could pull it out. And when they pulled it out, it all collapsed, which is what they weren't supposed to do. Like if you like people were just trying to get rich, and the whole point of Bitcoin was to actually like feed the system and start paying with Bitcoin.
Right,
Like
exactly.
people you were supposed to put your money in there and then start buying stuff using Bitcoin, not just put it in there, wait till it got high enough and then pull your money back out and come back with cash. They wanted people to ultimately just use Bitcoin, and nobody really was ever using Bitcoin. Nobody, it was hard to really find, like you said, they have those ATMs everywhere that you can use them, but it wasn't adopted enough. And when people start finding out like there's all these different forms of cryptocurrency, there was like, well, which one do I get into? Like, oh, Ethereum is about to be next one. Oh, look, there's this is it's a clone of Ethereum, but it's not really Ethereum. It's like they call it
So
Ether
lithium.
L or some shit. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, all these crazy names for these different alternative coins, and like people were just lost in what was all happening. In particular, like company, like entities, like governments, um, in particular, like China, they definitely had decided, we're gonna go all in on Bitcoin, but we're gonna start mining for Bitcoin at a higher rate, and we're gonna be the ones that dominate with this coin. And that sort of, I mean, it works for their economy because they've been on like digital payments way before we were.
Right.
We're paying with your cell phone, just paying through cell phone transactions, and like alternative to like a PayPal or whatever, but actually like doing the swipe to pay type thing. That was definitely happening in China before it was happening here, just because the way that their economy works, it allowed for it to happen, it allowed for it to
It was
flourish.
structured that way, yeah.
Yeah, the government adopted it. They didn't fight against it. They pushed it in, and because their government is so uh, dominant amongst its people on how they deal with their people, when they say something happens, it happens, and everybody follows suit. I mean, there is no debate. There is
Oh
no like there
yeah.
is now what's happening in not it's not mainland China. It's in Hong Kong.
Mhm.
But all the stuff that's happening with their protests and stuff like that, that's one of the rare cases of protests to happen in China. Like the
Right,
last thing
right.
before that would
And
be
it gets
like,
serious.
yeah, like the last thing before that was the tank man incident when he ran in front of the tank. It was like, yo, stop driving or
Yeah.
whatever. like it don't really happen like that. Like protests and free speech and stuff like that don't really happen in China in the same way. But like they had the dominance of Bitcoin. Um, I don't know what's going to happen with the idea of cryptocurrency, particularly like Facebook had their Libra coin situation.
Yeah.
Like
And
they
that
had tw-
flop.
yeah, they had 20 people
Mhm.
invested, they had 20 companies invested, and then like 28 companies invested, and then I say 20 came out. Basically a dead deal. It's
So
dead on
that
arrival type thing.
yeah.
So like what would probably happen is that countries have to get involved. Like the U.S. government would have to get involved. I mean, the banks would have to get involved, and it's hard pressed to actually see that happening right now because of what it costs to actually run bit mining operations or Bitcoin operations, the servers and all of that. It costs a lot. I can see in a couple of years when they figure out this whole quantum computing thing, because quantum computing is supposed to be the answer to be all the processing, because
All the stuff, yeah.
you need these supercomputers to be able to process all the numbers. So those quantum computers are there for it. They just got to get them ready to be able
Gotta
to
get,
do that.
you gotta perfect them, man. You gotta get them ready. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, I think this whole thing with the blockchain, bro, is it's had its bubble stages, but I think it's legitimately here to stay. And a
yeah.
part of that staple as to why, it's like what you said with China. They are the leading investors in Bitcoin.
Hmm.
So if you think about a country that is big as that, 1.1 billion people, that are like backed by, let's say that we get to an era where everything is digital now. Their whole company, they're not a whole company, their whole country is backed by Bitcoin now. That changes the game for a lot of things. So I think people are the awareness of with just different cryptocurrency is starting to raise some in different communities. And I think that because people are starting to see, it could be digging a little bit deeper too. That some people are they are believing that by a certain period of time the U.S. dollar will no longer be worth anything. So
Hmm.
maybe they look at this as an opportunity of case there's some type of unit of commerce that is worth investing and worth having. Let's invest in it before the ultimate crash comes, where America is officially declared bankrupt. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's ultimately it would have to be similar to what they have now, where each country has their own currency, and then each currency, essentially, each country has their own digital currency, and then each digital currency can communicate with the other country's currency so that they can do proper exchanges. Because that's one of the main things is doing the exchanges. Because I don't have any one coin or on one currency dominating the world, because that's just not how the world works. But for all the currencies to be able to communicate with each other for transaction purposes, that's the key. Is that no matter what coin I have, is my coin backed by at least some government entity, and can I transfer that coin into whatever other coin that I need? Right now, that's not the case, and it's not going to be the case for a while until those banks really start investing.
Really started getting it.
Yeah.
Nah. But yeah, man. Let's jump into this last article, man. I think it's definitely even more controversial than what we were just talking about. Since Google's parent
Yeah.
company Alphabet is getting back into robots. So they were there before. Says, but this
Hmm.
time it's using AI. Oh, it's using AI to create robots that can learn on their own. So, I think we probably talk about this, if not every episode, every other episode, bro. But this idea of AI of robots teaching themselves, man, is something that we really need to be prepared for. And I think a lot of people jump into this and maybe and I say people, I'm talking about the people in these the higher ups in these companies jump into this. We really don't know like the ramifications of when you create something that's able to be self-sustained that doesn't need what a human needs to survive. It can pose as some type of threat in the future. You see what I'm saying? Because one thing that I got to go deeper here, right? Like one thing I can say, as far as all of the living organisms on the planet, is that the most destructive one is the human being. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the most
Yeah.
destructive, and because we have the ability to question. You know what I mean? We that's what is we have the biological imperative to know why and how, and because of that, is a trial failure. This is quality assurance that we go through where things are destroyed, whether it be through civilizations, whether on a smaller scale or on a bigger scale. You know what I mean? And when you give liberty to something that is not human to start acting as if a human does, or processing things with a consciousness is able to feel and able to rationalize things. I believe that you can. It poses as a threat to the livelihood of humanity, because the only thing that keeps us here is this innate desire, this, for us to continue to thrive and grow forward. But it can be volatile, and that type of volatile state, maybe for another consciousness that it has been born to look at it, and observe it, may deem it that that is not good for the planet. You know what I mean? I think, and again, I feel like this is much more deeper than probably what even the article is going into. But again, the idea, when we, I forgot the name of the game, but they were talking about how it took maybe about 10,000, the type of processing and information that it would take to gain, for human being to gain over the course of like 10,000 years. It was able to do it in like a minute. What was that game? You remember, Mike?
It took 10,000 years. I mean, it wasn't a game. It was the quantum computing thing.
It was a quantum computer. Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool.
So the algorithms that they were able to give the quantum computer, um, it would have took 10,000 years for any traditional computer to do. It was able to do it in like 3.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. It was it
So you
was.
think about putting that. So you think about that level of processing of just information being put into something that's able to rationalize or come up with the concept of what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah, you give something 10,000 years worth of information and it's able to sift through 10,000 years specific data, like specifically. Like it's not like let me think about it and try to remember parts of details of things. It's
Uh,
remembering all the information of 10,000 years worth and coming up with a result in like 3.5 minutes or even faster. Even, I mean, all right, let's not do 10,000 years. Let's do 1,000 years worth of information and is able to come up with it in a second.
well,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
yeah.
like that's retarded. It's unattainable. Like this, I mean, we've already concluded that if we are able to make machines smart enough that they'll realize they don't need us. Like that's been the ultimate thing about every robot future movie, AI, anything is about a machine getting so smart that it realizes, you know what, I'm better than y'all. like,
Yeah, questions the
like
human's existence.
like wow, yeah, exactly. Like why do I need y'all? Y'all serve a purpose. And like even with like the Matrix when they had the, I don't know if anybody ever seen like the Animatrix and stuff like that, where it talks about the process of how humans came from being a civilization using technology and robots and how they took over, like the transition and the war that happened and stuff and all that stuff. Like it's too obvious of a answer that if you have something that is this smart that is gonna, you think it's really gonna be subservient to
Yeah,
people.
it's going to
And
continue to
like,
be like willingly subjugated by something that they deem inferior.
yeah, like, yeah, exactly. By all means, we intentionally create this thing to be superior than us, and then we think it's gonna be subservient to us. Like, and I mean, we try to give it like trivial jobs. So like with this Google article, like they're talking about the fact that they got these robots and that they're going to start be feeding them artificial intelligence. Like in a way, we already give them artificial intelligence, but it's pattern intelligence. It's the stuff like systems like Roombas and whatnot, where they're able to make sure that it maps a whole room and it vacuums the whole floor and it doesn't miss a spot and like it does it on its own. That's small level intelligence, but with things like Google Cloud and having all those data centers and having quantum computers and having an internet where one robot can easily tap into a data center of some 100,000 machines
Right.
and essentially have a brain over there and be able to do whatever little task it is needs to be done over here. Like right now, like with this picture, it's showing them separating plastics from paper in a recycling location. Eventually, like just that level of decision making, that's trivial, but it's about the learning process. And like, if we essentially are creating these things to continuously learn from time to time over, and then we start giving it more things to learn, it doesn't make sense of why. I mean, like, at best, just don't give these things like arms and legs, like, and we do that to a point now. Like, they got Boston Dynamics that's doing that, but like, you can't merge the two, because that's always been my fear. Like, Boston Dynamics is doing crazy stuff with robots, but then Google's over here doing crazy stuff with artificial intelligence. Now, if those two merge up, then we got a problem. And that's where I'm scared of, because I don't want no robot walking up to my door. I will lay it down. I got electric shock for it. I'm planning. I've been planning on
Got
the
EMPs around, man.
yeah, I've been planning for the robotic Armageddon since '91, bro. Since Terminator 2. I didn't take T-1000 as a joke, bro. I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
yo, this is really happening. This is gonna
It's real
happen.
life, man.
I mean, like, we passed 2016, so that bomb ain't go off, but
Right.
we still not far off. We still coming toward this whole robotics and AI thing, no problem.
Like, bro, I'm looking at like, so a part of the article that stuck out to me, like what you're talking about, man, which as far as giving the AI to learn, it just says here, it says it's possible. Who quoted this? I forgot who quoted this, but it says it's possible for robots to learn how to perform new tasks in the real world just through practice. Right. So
Right.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? Then it says rather than having engineers hand code every new task, exception, and improvement. So I mean, let's say new task, exception, improvement. We're talking about being able to learn from the errors it makes, like really giving it consciousness. This says here, the robots can learn by observing human demonstrations
Hmm.
and by shared experiences. Now that last part, shared experiences, is key. You see what I'm saying? Because you have different robots is able to have, again, different experiences, and the way that they process those experiences separately, from a different machine, is
Yep.
much faster than how if me and you were to process information, because what we have to do, even though we speak the same language, you have to get through, the language barrier, right? As far as like me understanding what you're saying,
Yeah.
because
You had to translate it to you.
there's an intuitive level, like, that we how we communicate as human beings, that we have to catch on to, which it helps us, and then it can harm us in some ways if it comes to like catching on to things quickly, right?
Hmm.
But when you think about AI, I don't think they have that issue. You see what I'm saying? Because it's ones and zeros.
Yeah,
At the end of
and
the
it,
day, you see what I'm
and
saying?
and even more, like, they're basically the same system. It's not
Yeah.
like it's they're more like the Borg than humans. I mean, so like,
Yeah.
you grow up, you got your own learning experience, and yeah, I have my own learning experience, and the only thing that we can do to translate that learning experience between each other is to communicate verbally or through written language or whatever like that.
Mm.
Like, they have the same learning, they have like the same programming, and all they have to do is essentially download a file from each other.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
and and like, all of it's stored up at some central server somewhere, so it's holding all of them, and then 10,000 robots learn 10,000 different things. It all goes up to the cloud, it
Right. The
creates a new
permutations from
thing,
that. Oh,
and then
dude.
it sends down the AI to all 10,000 of them, and now they all learned the new 10 new things from each other. All 10,000 of them all learned 10,000 new things at once, and they all have become more advanced from that quick. I mean, it's not computers, it's not science fiction anymore.
Yeah,
It's
it's not.
it's science fact. Like, I mean, looking at these robots, they look like Johnny Fives in a way, and like, like, they got the connects on their head, so that they can read and they can see things in 3D. Like,
Yeah.
it's not far off. Like, I'm starting to get disgusted, actually, just looking more at it. Every time I look at it and think, I'm starting to get real disgusted by it.
Right. And I
So,
can I can see Elon Musk, his position of like kind of taking a stance against
yeah.
like the traditional pathway that the AI was on, given the
Hmm.
the technological diabolic people, what I mean, feeling like it's just not really caring. They just want to see what happens with, not thinking about the repercussions. But
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's something that's definitely, I think we got to look at, man, because the only question I would then have is like, what do you do? It's not about how. The question I have at this point, because we already see the trajectory this is on, is like, what do we do? It's not how do we prepare as human beings? This is like, what does a human being have to become? You
Yeah,
see
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
a lot of it comes again with regulation and stuff like that. But even then, it's regulation, but then it's competition because if America chooses to regulate and say that we won't allow computers to go beyond a certain point, and we won't allow companies to create machines that can do certain things beyond a certain point. But then another country like China says, no, we let our machines run rampant, man. We got walking, talking babysitters. Yeah, I mean, like they going for our groceries and all of that. Like once that competition happens, it's gonna be like a state of play, like who has the power. And we see a video of them walking around like giving their robots high fives and like doing all crazy, like living one to one with their robots. America's going to make that attempt to do the same. And even if, and I mean, like things like warfare, like we already use simple stuff like drones, like remote control drones to send bombs into random locations. So, like,
Yeah.
if we start having like walking, talking, or even rolling on wheels, like I say, Johnny Five, I believe in Johnny Five. Like, you ever see Short Circuit, like the old 1980 Short Circuit one
That's
and two with
like
Johnny Five? Like, if they have them things out and out here in the real world with
the
AI,
streets.
yeah, like it's going to be a real problem for society. Yeah, I mean, because they're going to start doing things indiscriminately. They're going to just start taking people out indiscriminately. Like, how do you identify um, what is human problem versus
Right.
a ally? Like, I got this stuff going way too far before we ever pull back. And
Oh yeah.
even though we attempting to pull back now, I feel like somewhere in some military sense we're gonna start using robots in warfare, and it's gonna be too late before we start
Yeah.
regulating.
There you go.
Some major shit is gonna happen, and then we're gonna be like, oh shit, we got a real problem with these
We didn't know.
robots.
Yeah, we didn't know. We didn't know. Like,
Yeah,
nah, you knew. You just didn't think that we would come this fast or that it would hit this hard.
yeah, that this AI was smart enough. Like, nah, like because they do the logs and stuff. Like they'll be like they'll send like some SWAT AI, like instead of a SWAT team, instead of like SEAL
Mm.
Team 6, they send like AI Team 6 in. Yeah, I mean, and they all go in there and clear the scene. I mean, but then they decide to also like kill a civilian that was needed for a discrete purpose. Like say, I don't know, some random shit, some fucking 24 shit with Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, they gotta save the president. They use some AI to save the president, some shit, and then the AI decides I'm gonna kill the president. Fuck. I
Right.
mean,
It is. It is.
but it's all theory, bro. It's all
Yeah.
theory.
We go. We got that tangent, man. Who knows, right? We only thing we can go off of is the movies, man. But one of the keys that I remember, cause I do read a lot of books like they talk about how the way the human mind is they can never imagine something that either can exist or that hasn't existed. So I mean, coming up with these things in our mind is projecting these realities. It's like maybe it's either existing, has existed before, or maybe it's coming into existence.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's
That's
one of
all
those
I have.
things that we everything that we build ourselves into it. And what I'm scared of is that as we build these AIs, we build, their biases, our human nature for violence, for like predatory instinct. We build those into these systems, and that's the potential problem there.
That's the problem. It's the biggest problem. So I mean,
Our,
I get
our,
this this article. It's a thumb up and a thumb down for me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I
thumbs
get
up
it
for the
and it's good,
article, thumb
right?
down for
Where this is
believing that
going.
it's a positive thing. Yeah,
Uh, Alphabet need to do better, man. Need to wake up.
yeah.
But that's pretty much all we got, man. I mean, I have that's all I have, man. Do you have anything else to add, Mike? Or
No, I really just want y'all to go ahead and follow, subscribe, and listen to these podcasts. We definitely appreciate all the people that are following right now. You can definitely find us on all the resources. I appreciate any feedback that we have from it. That's the number one thing. We got more stuff coming for you, so I'm all
Right.
ready for that.
We should call more of that hot ass news coming your way.
Some more of that hot ass news coming your way.
Yeah, man. You can catch us on all the social media channels, man. All of the your podcast platforms, man. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think, man. But that's it for the Google News update for this week, man. Y'all take care.
Yeah, man, take it easy out there.
Peace.